Kurds from all across Kurdistan are gathering in Qandil, a region under the effective control of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, for Newroz celebrations in the region. Kurds travelled from diverse locations such as Kirkuk and the Makmur refugee camp in order to attend the celebration in Qandil, which takes on a special significance as a commemoration of the PKK's ongoing fight to establish a democratic, decentralised system in Kurdistan and across the region.
هم خلق كوباني نعم كوباني هاتنا نوروزا قنديل بيروز بكن لحمو هفالي خو هفالي جيريلا ججناني نوروز بيروز به والسلام مش حمو خلق كوباني راهيا واسحسكم او جوارن قنديل ببينن نوروزا قنديل قالك خوشا.
Kurds are expected to continue arriving to the region throughout the day, with the major celebrations featuring 8 artists from 3 of the 4 regions of Kurdistan scheduled for 21st of March. The Newroz, or Kurdish New Year festival, has been celebrated across North and East Syria at major gatherings and in ordinary streets and neighbourhoods. At a celebration at the Samalka border crossing, the sole official crossing linking NES to the outside world, autonomous administration officials held a joint event which was also attended by members of the International Coalition to Defeat ISIS. Generals Bryce Andrews and Jack Abrams attended as representatives of the US Armed Forces and saw the Newroz flame being lit and scenes repeated across the region. The major city saw large festivals with music, dancing and speeches, attended by thousands of Kurds and their Arab and minority neighbours. The autonomous administration of North and East Syria had announced a 2-day holiday covering the 20th and 21st of March. The folk hero Kawa the blacksmith, who lit a flame in his forge as a signal to an oppressed people to rise up against their king, is associated with the Newroz festival. In regions such as North and East Syria, which follow the political philosophy of Abdullah Öcalan, the festival takes on a political significance as a celebration not only of Kurdish identity but of the ongoing political struggle in the region for democracy, equality and freedom. Some areas of the NES therefore saw more sombre events alongside the displays of Kurdish folk music and costume. In Kobane, there was a torchlit procession from the cemetery for those killed in the wars against ISIS and Turkey to the town's iconic Mishtanur Hill. In all regions, locals visited the graveyards for the war dead to commemorate their loved ones with flowers, candles and songs. Fighters on the front line against the Turkish armed forces and their proxy militias also lit Newroz fires, while the festival was even celebrated in the Kurdish majority neighbourhood of the Syrian capital of Damascus, which remains under the control of the Ba'ath government of Bashar al-Assad. Kurds and other locals displaced from their homes during Turkey's 2019 invasion of North and East Syria have also celebrated the Newroz festival. Community representatives used the opportunity to express their hope that they will be able to return home in the next year, something that is currently impossible due to the Turkish occupation proceeding in violation of international law. Turkey's 2019 operation, under the official name of Peace Spring, saw the Turkish armed forces and their proxies seize 5,000 square kilometers surrounding the cities of Tel Abyad and Sarakaniye, killing hundreds and displacing hundreds of thousands of civilians. Kurds, Yazidis, and Christians have been driven from their homes as part of a policy of forcible ethnic cleansing, along with many of their Arab neighbours. Though fighting was formally brought to an end by parallel ceasefire agreements reached with Russian, Turkish, and USA agreement, Turkey has consistently violated these agreements by launching continued assaults, drone strikes, and shelling along the line of contact. Many people remain displaced, including those living in the Sarakaniye refugee camp where the Newroz celebrations took place, with the assistance of the Camp Council and the Kabul Center for Culture and Arts. The Newroz flame was lit, and following this event, then the Tolhilden Arts and Culture Group performed traditional Kurdish music. With the Newroz flame symbolising revival and new life, the festival constitutes a symbol of continued opposition to the de facto Turkish occupation. Newroz was also celebrated by Kurdish migrant and expat communities across the globe, including in Germany, the site of the world's largest Kurdish diaspora community. 60,000 attendees travelled in buses from 150 different cities and locations across Germany to gather in Frankfurt on the 20th of March. The attendees leaned their voice to support the official slogan, "Let the gates of Imrali be opened," and the ban on the PKK ended. It's time for freedom. The crowds chanted slogans in support of the Kurdish cause, including "Long live Öcalan," "Long live the resistance of the guerrilla," and "Long live the resistance on Imrali." Speaking at the celebration, Preparatory Committee member Zubayda Zumrit said, "We have declared this Newroz the Newroz of Öcalan and the Newroz of freedom. We will work day and night, house to house, until we have achieved the goal of freeing Öcalan. This is a red line for us, as women and as youth." The celebration also saw traditional music and Kurdish govend dances, as well as speeches in support of the Kurdish self-determination and autonomy. At a celebration in London, meanwhile, thousands of members of the local Kurdish community gathered to hear speeches and performances of Kurdish hip-hop and traditional music. The crowd was addressed by Jeremy Corbyn MP, the former leader of the Labour Party, who expressed his long-standing support for the campaign to free Abdullah Öcalan, A message was also read from Sir Keir Starmer MP, the current head of Labour, while messages were also sent by politicians from all of the UK's major political parties. The writer and intellectual Noam Chomsky has sent a video to the Kurdish people on the occasion of Newroz, or Kurdish New Year. The message was broadcast on screens at a rally in the Kurdish city of Van or Bakur, or northern Turkish-occupied Kurdistan, held on the 20th of March as part of ongoing celebrations around the festival.
The Kurdish people have struggled valiantly for freedom and justice. They have faced and overcome terrible repression and violence. Their struggle is truly inspiring, as are their achievements in the face of extreme adversity.
Mr. Chomsky has long been a public advocate of the Kurdish cause, lending his support to the direct democratic political project in North and East Syria and the ideas of imprisoned Kurdish leaders Abdullah Öcalan. Like Mr. Öcalan, Mr. Chomsky has saged critiques of traditional left-wing and Marxist movements from a pro-democratic and libertarian perspective. In his video message, he once again reiterated demands for Mr. Öcalan to be freed. Öcalan, the Mandela of the Middle East, has been held on the prison island of Imrali since his 1999 capture by the Turkish intelligence services in conditions amounting to torture.
For me personally, it has been an enormous privilege to be able to participate, even if very slightly, in these remarkable efforts. Very recently, by giving an inaugural lecture at the University of Rojava. Only a few years ago, that would have seemed unimaginable. And it should teach us that
When I think about Newroz, I think about the resistance of the Kurdish people. I think about how also encourage other peoples in the world to resist against domination, against capitalism, state and patriarchy. And for me, this, when I first heard about it, it impressed me a lot, and it makes me it changed my way of understanding struggle and revolution, and it is an inspiration. I would like to say in this day of Newroz to the Kurdish people and to the Apochi people around the world that all this movement is inspiring us in the different peoples around the world, particularly here the Catalan people, to give, to believe in another life, to believe that life is something that we love so much that we are able to give our lives for it, and to continue building, organizing, learning and uniting the different parts of democratic modernity forces. So, Newroz, Piros.